Well, hello and welcome back to another 2020 celebration story. Kind of fun sharing celebrations after a year like that, but I get to be joined here with my my childhood best friend, Jay, and his wife, Kathleen. This is Jason Kathleen Enns. Guys, welcome here.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming in to our socially distant studio to share some of your story. And while I know we won't get into the whole thing, I'm really, really glad that you're going to share what was going on in your head and your heart. And so some of us at the church actually may know their story. We've been praying for you guys and praying through this journey with you. It started a few years back. You signed up to foster to adopt and got a little baby girl, 2 days?
2 days old.
2 days old. 2 days old. And then I fast forward through 2 amazing years about. She was going up for her crown to adopt. And we were excited. I remember us celebrating and praying over this new addition that we were praying for your family. And then the court case happened. And that was basically the beginning, launching into the year of 2020, yes? We were right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And if you remember that story, we were in the court case for a long time. And it cost you a lot. Not just money. Costs you a lot. And so I think that's where I want to pick up and ask you guys to share a little bit. You're in this situation where now your joy of potentially adopting is almost overcome by this court case. But then on top of that, you get a verdict, the first verdict that came out of the court case, which was you were going to lose her. How? What? Tell us what you were feeling, how you were processing all of this, even going into the court case and all of this. How were you processing it? What were you feeling? Walk us through the emotion and the impact on all of that.
I think just one major thing was, if we just rewind a little bit to the beginning of the court case, it was just utterly shocking that it was coming to this, in just the means that it was. Not so much that Fax wasn't doing their due diligence on trying to find the best possible match for her, as they do with every child. But it was just coming to the actual court itself, and this is actually happening, and the outcome seemed like we were a shoo-in, and we could not possibly lose.
Sure. With
just the circumstances that were before us.
Right.
And
I mean, you've raised this child, 2 days old. Here you're almost getting near 2.5.
Yeah.
It seems like this would be the best thing.
It's
so
like a shoo-in,
sure.
yeah. And then it just was a loss. And it was really a sad day for sure. But when we got her that 2 days old, we just felt like they were dropping off our daughter, that God had a plan for her life, and it was to be in our family. We always truly believed that. As much as we worked hard with Fax and the mom to try and reunite, that didn't happen, and we came down this avenue, and it was just quite a shock to start another process of where do we go now with courts, what are we able to do. So yeah, it was a learning curve too for us in how the system works.
So Kathleen, maybe you could walk me through like the emotion of it. So you're now being dragged into court, and there's all these other uncertainties now. Like what seemed like maybe a certain thing is completely uncertain. It's kind of dropped beneath you. What were you going through?
So God had sort of given me a word for that year that he was going to do something new. And I just felt like, maybe it was just our family being established finally and getting to adopt her. And then when we lost, it was kind of like, God, where's this new thing? And when is it coming? And how is this working into your plan? And I was really just lost and confused and angry and scared, just terrified. And I just felt God just pour out unmerited grace and favor and peace and joy. I don't know how that's possible to experience joy during a circumstance like that, but he just has blessed us with so much, with our community as well, just rallying around us and praying for us. We could always felt like we just could drop, anybody would drop anything at oh brother, anybody would come at the drop of a hat
Yeah.
and just be there for us and help us, get through what we were going through, and that just made me feel like so special.
Yeah.
I just felt like God was watching out for me, and He would carry me through whatever was gonna come.
You said something there that I think is kind of the mystery of how our emotional and spiritual and physical health work together. But you said, you felt all these emotions, and obviously not all at the same time. So walk me through, like, what is that like to go, and a lot of people during the year of the pandemic, whether it be loss of business or loved ones, even just lost, not from the pandemic, but just lost and then not being able to grieve with them. This year's been hard for people, and emotions have felt all over the map. And so how did you actually try to, hold on to that joy, almost protect that joy that comes from the Lord? Like, what did you do?
That was a daily battle for me. I knew that if I let it slip even one day, I don't know when I would get that back. So I really had to just daily sacrifice my will before God and say, if she has to go, that's your choice, and it's not my decision. Yeah. And you know what's best for all of us, so I had to just make sure that I was, putting all my trust in His plan for our life.
Yeah, I was really putting into practice that, God will carry you through and His plan is best. That is when the rubber hits the road, is when that possibility of loss is standing right before you, that you can actually say that, God, you know what's best. And I don't think you do, but I have to trust now more than ever that you do. Or else I don't know how I can carry on.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, guys. You said something else, Kathleen, I want to pick up on. And, this is a season, especially in a lockdown, when people are going to be checking this video out, they're feeling maybe disconnected from a community a little bit. And you mentioned the idea, like, you had support, you could call on people. Walk me through that support. How did that work? What did it look like to receive support? And did someone have a vision, a plan? What did it all look like for you guys to receive that community in that season?
Yeah, for me, it was just I had people texting me on a regular basis, just saying, I love you, I'm praying for you, and we would, especially in the hard times when we got the court case, we felt like we could just call up our friends and ask them to just, pray for us. And they just took time out of their day to come and make sure that we were on their hearts and in their prayers. And it was so great to see people empathizing with what we were going through, because it is a strange situation, and people often don't experience this. And so they might not know what it would feel like for us, but people really almost helped me through that, the emotions that I was going through, by sharing what they thought I felt like, and
carrying one another's burdens.
Yeah, also I think one thing that came from this time was when Frank had his accident. It was kind of around the same time. And it gave us another thing of a significant importance to focus on in prayer, and just reflection on the importance of a life, that whether it be a little baby that comes to you or your 21-year-old son that's now fighting for his life in a different way, that you got to experience good times with him, but it all could be taken away at such an early age, of just appreciation for people on another level, and getting to experience that through trying to be there for somebody else during your hardship, but then also your friends coming alongside you and helping carry you through it.
Yeah, I remember getting to come over, and I say getting to because you invited people over to sing. We're going to see a victory in your living room and to pray. I remember my own tears, obviously. I remember a lot of that. And I was proud of you guys for calling on your community. And it's something to say, wave the flag, I need that help. And you guys did that and said, yeah, come support us because we got nothing left. So one more question before we get into the next part of that story, but how, as a married couple, a team, one, united with God, how do you process this and remain deeply in love with one another, deeply committed to one another? Because these sort of stressors in a family have often got the ability to either solidify in fortitude the marriage, or actually cause division as the stress and the anxiety and the pressure just gets too much. How did that work for you guys? You don't have to go into too much detail, but like, how did that work for you guys? And Jay, maybe you can share just briefly what kind of things were you going through?
I think that it was really easy to get caught up in all the next thing to do with the lawyer, the next avenue we need to go down, explore, whatever, on a nightly basis. And those kind of logistics did get discussed very often because it was the one thing that was consuming us. But I think we also made a point of being like, we need to have some normal things going on too. We need to just laugh and smile and have fun with our kids. And one thing that I think we really took out of it for our marriage was just the importance of alone time and quality time. We, in this season, really shut down on the social media stuff, the TV watching, the Netflix, there's a time and place for that to just chill and relax, and we still did that from time to time, but we definitely leaned into God in our together prayers as we prayed together, and that bond, I think, has changed our marriage forever.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. So, here we are, getting to a decision that's a no. I remember my emotion that day. You remember my emotion that day. You were seemingly stronger than I was. And then all of a sudden we enter another court battle, now with no real control. And I remember the lack of control feeling just bizarre. Share with me this idea of going, you couldn't even say anything in this one. You just sat there silently, anonymously to listen. How did it feel to have zero control over the future of whether your daughter gets to stay in your home?
Part of it was a little bit freeing, to be honest. I knew that God was taking it from here, and there was literally nothing I could do. Yeah. So it was kind of like, if I screw up, I'll never forgive myself. But if God's going to do, he's going to do whatever he's going to do. And I really felt him give me, not necessarily you're going to win type word, but more like, just be still and watch me fight for you. Yeah. And it was amazing to see. Yeah,
we got to see his power move through our judges that day, that they just must have been filled with his Holy Spirit that day, because they just seemed to sing his praises without saying his name through the whole thing. And we felt him very heavy in each one of those rooms, as it was just through Zoom, because we were in complete lockdown with any kind of court or anything like that. And yeah, like we did definitely beat ourselves up a little bit the first time, that maybe we said that wrong. Maybe if we said this differently or better, or didn't say this, right, that have changed the decision. But to have that now off our shoulders, and just, it has to be up to you now, God. This is the final avenue, right, and what is the decision going to be? And waiting for that decision was just gut-wrenching, because I thought that it was going to come that day. Yeah. And then I thought, actually, no, it shouldn't come that day, because that would be a really quick answer. So it's nice to, know that, okay, it's coming. Just wait on him.
Yeah. So you get a no. First you got a yes, then you got a no. And now we're waiting, following this. And I remember the gut-wrenching pain of waiting. And then you're at work. Tell the story.
Yeah, so it was July 10th. I was barbecuing for our team, and I got a phone call from my lawyer. Someone came out, got me, so I run across the shop like it was a blur. And I pick up the phone, and all she says is, "She's all yours." And I just couldn't get off the phone with her fast enough without being rude. with that, and she said that she'd send all the information in the email, and I immediately was in my car driving home praying that Kathleen didn't read that email before I got home. I had a vision from the day this court started that they would be home together, laughing and having a good time, to walk in and say that we're a family, and that's exactly the way it happened. And then we got to do our rounds with our closest friends, showing up at your house even, and just with you and Allie, and the boys were off at school. It just couldn't have been more of a perfect day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. That was a highlight of the year. You've got this amazing victory that God came through. You lived out the James text that says, in your perseverance, as your faith perseveres, you build character. You lived it out, and you modeled it actually for a lot of us in the church of what it looks like to be faithful and to trust. And so now I kind of want to know, if you had to say, like, in your perseverance you build character, what is it? What is it that you went like, man, this is something that I've learned. This is something about God I've learned. This is something about my faith, my marriage, my character, my kids. I think you shared already, Jay, about the value of life. What is it that kind of stood out from this?
For me, the first court battle was a lot of just digging us apart and just criticism after criticism, and trying to really make us appear to be terrible parents and terrible people. And although I knew they didn't know me, that's always still been a struggle in my life, is my identity and how other people see me. And God just sort of blew that out of the water. It's like, it doesn't matter what they think, it matters what I think. And because he pulled through for us and just gave us the blessing of our family, it was just like, he's gonna fight for us no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you, Jay?
I just cannot imagine a life without spending ample time with God and thanking him and knowing that he is going to take care of us. I think one of the big reflections was that through campaigns and just everyday problems, that this was the anchor, the boat anchor that just really took me down to the bottom, and God just pulls me right back up again. That no matter what, if we put our faith in him, we might not like the answer, but he's always going to be there to pick us back up, dust us off, and send us back in the right way of a service to him. As long as we are willing, he'll use us.
Amen.
And it might not be the way we want, but in this case, it was a great outcome. And we just look forward to how he's going to use us in the future to help others come to him, whether it be good or bad on us or through the trench. But we're happy that,
Well, I look forward to that too. I'm excited for this year as we launch out of this lockdown for what God's going to do in 2021. I'm excited to see that you guys respond to God's call. He says, go to Thailand and spend a year there on mission. You go, okay. Adopt, foster to adopt possibly. Okay. Go into court and do this. Okay. And if this is a testimony of God's faithfulness and love for you guys, for the least of these, the kids, and for your pursuit of him, I can't wait to see what God's got in store. And if you have been enjoying some of this, I encourage you, if you know these guys, to reach out to them. There's a lot more to this story. There's days of spending time in a pub crying over lunch. There's days of intense tears and sorrow and anguish. There's days of extreme mountaintop highs. And that is all of our lives. That doesn't change from one year to the next. There will be days like that. But the thing that was different was you didn't do it alone. God never left you and forsake you, and your faith community rallied around you. And if you're listening and need that, I encourage you at this point in this lockdown, don't wait till after the lockdown. Don't say, I'll get to it later, but get involved and get plugged in. We want to be your support through whatever storm you're going through today, tomorrow, in the future. We want to be there for you, and it's a beautiful picture of community that we did exactly as it calls us to in Galatians and carried each other's burdens. As you recognize, Kathleen, we carried it for one another. And it was a privilege to do that with you guys. It's an even better celebration because I got to be such a close part of it. But I encourage you to allow your church to carry each other's burdens. God bless you. Stay tuned for what we got tomorrow.